Good day, everybody. I hope everybody's doing very well and taking care of yourselves, especially your mental health. Today, I want to talk about grief, but giving yourself permission to grieve or to mourn, what that looks like, and why it could be so different from everybody else. In my last clip, I spoke about my journey with grief, and today I just want to give pointers on what could work for you and what could work with someone else. Again, grief looks so different to everybody. It comes in many stages and in many ways, and there's no linear way of grieving, right? Because you have the shock, denial, resentment, as I spoke a little bit about in my previous clip. But there's the other side of grief that we also don't talk about. People who were very close to the person that passed away experience a different kind of shock, numbness, because they don't believe that the person has died, right? Versus where someone who was not so close but also dearly loved by this person, what they experience is the shock, the anger, the sadness, the sorrow, the deep sorrow, immediately as they hear the news, because they actually believe that the person has passed away. So these are two different people experiencing this grief, but from different perspectives. Because if you're very close and dear to this person, the numbness hits you like, this can't be true, this can't be real. And what happens is the person might go into go mode to do things to get the process over and done with. And then when everybody is expecting them to be okay, like, okay, now they're actually building themselves, they are now, it's been a month or 3 months or a year, this is when the normal stage of griefs happen, which is, I can't believe this person is now gone. Truly, I cannot call them. I look at my phone and I can't call them, or I will never hear their voice again. This is when the person starts to break down. This is when they start to grieve their person, because the numbness is gone. Now they start to cry. They are triggered by so many things that they didn't think would trigger them before. And this is the time that the people that are now closer to these people should be there for them, or actually help them seek help. You need to give yourself permission to grieve. If your loved one, your child, your spouse, your parent, the person that was very dear to you passes away, give yourself permission to grieve. What that looks like is organize your grief. And what that means is, what about the person is it that triggers you when you see something? For example, a newspaper, or if you watch a soccer game, is that what triggers you to remember the person? Write that down. What are you feeling guilty about, if anything? Like, I wish I was not so rude. I wish I had called them. I wish I picked up the call when they called me. I wish I could have forgiven them. Or I wish I had said I love you. Because sometimes we have guilt, and that the guilt is what keeps us so overwhelmed, and that we can't breathe, or feel so horrible that how can I make amends? So write down what guilt feelings you have. I'll talk about that to someone. Sometimes when someone passed away in a very unnatural death, terrible car accident, terrible being stabbed or so, but it was very vicious, and you came to see your person in this space, what then happens is you have trauma from your person passing away. The trauma is you have flashbacks from how you saw the person in, let's say, the bed after they've been injured, when you saw them in this car accident. The last scene that you have of them in this space is the trauma that you have, that you might have. How you deal with that is you first have to go for trauma counseling about seeing your person in that space and dealing with that wasn't the person that died that you've known, but that was their body that you saw, and so many things that you can also get therapy for in terms of the trauma versus the grieving process. Once you've dealt with the trauma of seeing your person or hearing how horrible they died, then that's only when you can then start processing the grief. So we have grief and trauma when a person dies, and depending on how terrible or painful the death was, this could leave a mark of trauma. And this is why people sometimes cannot cope, and it's just because it's not stated as such. And so do seek counseling, please. Do sit with someone that you trust. Go for prayer groups, go for grief groups when you can. But the very important thing that I want to leave you with is have a grief day. A grief day is like a ritual day. So it could be on their birthday, you sit and you celebrate you celebrate their lives. You go through their pictures, you talk about what was great about them. For someone else, it could be the day they died. You could have that as a day that you take the day off. It allow yourself to mourn, to cry, to go sit somewhere and just listen to music, listen to whatever you have that reminds you of this person, and actually process those emotions, because then that helps you to not let grief or the trauma creep up on you when you least expect it, because you actually dedicate a specific day to this loved one that has passed away. No, it's not easy, and this is not all that can help you, but at least it's something that you could look at. And in your ritual day, you can have like appreciation. What do you appreciate about them? How would they want you to grieve them being away? What would they say to you when you are in your pain? These are the things that you can actually look at and forgive yourself for things you could not say, and let that be. I hope this helps. Again, please find a grief counselor closest to you, someone that you trust, and journal. I'll come through with some journaling booklets in soon, hopefully, and so that maybe that could be something that helps you with your grieving process. Take care of yourself and be kind to yourself and everybody else. I'll see you again.